Hello, today for Teaching Aquatics, we will be covering backstroke, or otherwise known as backcrawl, one of the competitive swim strokes that can be used for competition and also for leisure. So, with the backstroke, please make sure that you've read your textbook. We are on step 4, the backstroke, and also review some of the common errors and corrections that are needed within the backstroke. Very similar to the freestyle or front crawl, as in this picture here. Body rotation is going to be a big part of obtaining success with the backstroke or back crawl. So as you can see in this picture, the first individual is swimming very flat, almost like a tugboat, creating a lot of drag, not really being able to have propulsion through the water. And then in the picture below, we can see the individual really driving that elbow out of the water. We can see the body rotating, more like a thin sailboat, being able to glide and move through the water very effortlessly, decreasing that drag. So one of the things with the backstroke or back crawl is really gaining a good horizontal position and also providing that body rotation to make sure that you are decreasing the drag when moving through the stroke. So again, look at some of the missteps, look at some of the corrections for them with your feet sank or moving your arms straight, locked position, how you finish your pull, whether or not you're splashing, and what happens if you have water getting on your face. So next we're going to go through the breakdown of the back crawl or the backstroke. So what do you need in order to be efficient with the back crawl? Well, as already stated, that horizontal body line on your back is super important. Making sure that your hips stay to the surface of the water, also align with your shoulders and head, and making sure that you have a very strong kick, keeping that lower body up onto the surface. The next, which has already been talked about a little bit, is that rotation on the long axis. So thinking about that axis point just straight through from the top of your head down to your toes, and really making sure that you're rotating side to side as you're performing the backstroke. The other thing is a splashless entry of your hand when you are going into the catch phase of the arm stroke. So making sure that you're going pinky down, really reaching over the top of your head. And to obtain that, it's best to really rotate that opposite shoulder as you enter that pinky in. Next one is making sure that you have pressure on the water throughout your stroke. So making sure you have that mid catch, your pull, and your finish. Also having that kicking rhythm and effective propulsion of a kick. So we're going to be flipped on the back. So it's very important to make sure that not only are you kicking downwards, but also when you bring your toes up to the surface of the water, that you are creating a propulsion of the kick through that as well. Head position is really important. The nice thing about this stroke is that your head is out of the water. So breathing is a lot easier than when we've covered the front crawl or freestyle. So the one thing to remember though is that your head should not be looking side to side or turning side to side, which would create your hips to then turn, which would then create some scissoring of your kick. The other thing is making sure that your chin is up, but not too far up that your forehead goes underwater, allowing water to stream over the top of your face. So really neutral head position is really important. And then with all strokes, just that effective timing and rhythm is important. One of the things about backstroke and the back crawl is that your arms are moving in 100% opposition. So as one is entering the water, the other one is coming out of the water. And we'll go through that more in specifics. So for the arm stroke in the backstroke or back crawl, 4 elements. It's the catch, the pull, the finish, and recovery. So being able to get that catch. Some of the cue words that we use is thumbs up. So as you can see in this picture, a nice thumbs up position, bringing the arm over the head, and then we flip the hand and enter in pinky first. We then drive our fingertips to the bottom of the pool to get that catch. We should be using a bent arm, as in this picture, a bent arm pull. Okay, we're not just using straight arms that are just whipping through the water. We're going to get an effective pull of the water with using our elbow bent, catching with the forearm and the upper arm, and then driving that hand all the way down to our thighs, which is our slap. So making sure we're kind of slapping our thigh. That will help with the recovery of being able to drive that thumb right out of the water, because that is going to be the position that the hand is going to be in. And again, our arms should always be in opposition of each other. So as that one hand drives out of the water, the other hand is entering the water. And it's really important when learning the backstroke or back crawl that we start with very slow, controlled arm movements to essentially break down the muscle memory of what you previously learned for the backstroke, since many people just windmill their arm where their palms are coming up to the surface of the water instead of really flipping that hand over and getting a pull with a bent elbow. And that's what we're going to be focusing in when we get into the water. Next part is the kick. The flutter kick is used for the back crawl or backstroke. The leg movements should be very long and fluid. We should have continued rhythm back and forth. You will see, since body rotation is very important, you will see rotation within your hips during the stroke and kicking, but we should be maintaining that up, down, up, down, up, down kick rhythm, or 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2. And again, the kick should be coming from the hips and the core, and the knees should be underwater, and really just the only thing that's going to be coming out of the water is the toes on the upper part of the kick. So again, really important to relax those legs. We don't want to keep it very rigid because it will decrease our ability to create propulsion. So again, thinking about that curled toe will help kind of relax our knee and our hips going through the kicking of the backstroke. Next one is rotation and breathing. So the rotation, although at first many people think should be coming from your shoulders to get your hand really reaching up and above your head, it's really important to think more so about the drive of rotation coming from your hip and really being able to turn your whole body and not just your upper body so that your lower body goes in the opposite direction. So really rotating that hip should help you with an effective catch and pull when reaching for the water behind your head. Again, your face should be out of the water the whole time, but it's important to also make sure that our ears are kind of staying in the water and that our chin is up slightly. So we don't want it to be looking far down, which would allow our hips to drop, but we also don't want our chin too far up that the water is then running over our forehead. And again, the backstroke and with any swim stroke, the rhythm is so important. So matching your breath to the rhythm of the stroke is important, even with the backstroke where your head is out of water. So trying to breathe in with your left arm, exhale with your right arm, and breathing in through your mouth and then exhaling through your nose will help, just in case if any water does flow over your head, that you're blowing bubbles kind of out through your nose and mouth, which is then going to allow you not to suck any water in through your nose or mouth when swimming. So again, getting that rhythm down will help increase your control and synchrony within the swim stroke. So looking at the swim stroke in its entirety here, you can see probably the arm stroke being very different than what many of you have been doing for the swim stroke. So we are seeing the thumb driving out, then flipping the hand with the pinky going in the water. Right as we initiate the catch, where the pull comes from a bent elbow, finishing with that kind of slap on their thigh, the follow through all the way down, and then driving the thumb out of the water. So really focusing on bending that elbow, getting a good finish within that stroke, and not overreaching the arm stroke. And then you can see also from the kick that the hips are moving side to side, and the head is really not moving at all whatsoever. So it's really just making sure the hips are going side to side. So let's go ahead and check out the American Red Cross video that breaks down the back crawl or the backstroke into more detail.
The back crawl, or backstroke, is the only competitive stroke performed on the back. Like the front crawl, efficient movement and good body position make this stroke more powerful. Keep your back slightly rounded so your legs are horizontal and your upper body is relaxed. Your hips and legs are just below the surface. The waterline typically runs from the middle of the top of your head to the tip of your chin, with your ears underwater. Keep your head still and aligned with your spine as you stroke. An effective back crawl depends on good body roll with every stroke. Use a regular breathing pattern as you swim. Inhale when one arm recovers. Exhale when the other recovers. Your body continues to rotate as your recovering arm enters the water. Body rotation is at its maximum at the start of the catch. The catch for one arm begins as the other arm recovers. This will help you maintain good opposition rhythm in your stroke. Your arms move in constant opposition to each other. One arm pulls, while the other recovers. Each arm is always opposite the other arm. This is called opposition rhythm. Begin with your arms straight, without moving your head. As your arm enters the water, rotate your body toward that side. Your hand enters the water just outside the shoulder, little finger first. Your palm faces out, with the wrist slightly bent. Your entry hand slices downward 8 to 12 inches, at a slight outward angle, and grabs the water to begin the power phase. The power phase looks like this: catch, mid-pull, and finish. The power starts with the catch. Bend your elbow so your fingertips are pointed toward the side of the pool. Your palm and forearm face toward your feet as you push the water back. Follow a straight path toward your feet while your fingertips continue to point to the side. During the finish, your hand speeds up as you follow through. Extend your wrist so your palm faces slightly down. At the end, your arm is straight and your hand is below your hip. Be sure to keep pressing on the water through the finish to help your body rotate to the other side. Begin the recovery for the arm stroke underwater. With your arm straight, lift your hand from the water first, letting the rest of your arm follow. The palm of your hand faces in. Your thumb leaves the water first. Keep your arm straight and relaxed throughout the recovery. Good body roll will help keep your recovering arm relaxed. Midway through the recovery, rotate your palm out so that your little finger enters the water first. Now watch the entire arm stroke sequence. Use the flutter kick for the back crawl. It's a continuous up and down movement that starts at the hip and snaps at the foot. Keep your ankles loose. During the upward kick, the motion begins at the hip. With a continuous fluid motion, straighten your leg and snap your foot up until your leg is straight and your toes just reach the surface. During the downbeat, keep your leg relaxed and almost straight. The distance your legs move up and down during the kick will vary depending on the length of your legs, your hip and ankle flexibility, and the pace of the stroke. Most swimmers use a 6-beat kick, but your cadence may vary. Now watch the back crawl again. Notice how all the elements of the stroke work together. to create a smooth motion through the water.